Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Village of Bartlett Committee of the Whole for February 3rd, 2026. I ask the clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Batterman.
Here.
DEYNE.
Here.
GANDSEY.
Here.
HOPKINS.
Here.
Laporte.
Here.
Swansky.
Here.
President Gunstein.
Here. Take us to our town hall portion. If anybody has arrived since the last meeting and would like to speak, please do so by stepping up to the podium, state your name and your address, and please try to keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Look, nobody walked in. All right, town hall is closed. That'll
Good.
take us to our standing committee reports. Public Works and Golf Committee, Chairman DEYNE.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have one item to discuss this evening. It's a discussion of inspections for public works projects. And Dan, I hope you're prepared to talk about this.
I am prepared to talk about this. We talked back in November. I think Trustee Hopkins brought it up as far as a discussion on public works projects and what inspections are happening and what inspections should be utilized. So I think I think part of the discussion is, are we talking about contractors the village hires to do public works projects only, or are we also talking about public works crews doing work in public right-of-ways? So that we can kind of sort through, there's kind of two different avenues. But I think that was the discussion back in November, I believe, that was raised.
Okay, so I spoke to a couple of trustees regarding this, so I'll kind of clarify it. If you're going to put a new pump station in, and you're going to hire XYZ contractor, that contractor should pull a permit with the Village of Bartlett, even though it might be a zero fee for that permit, so that our inspection teams can inspect that work. I think that is as clear as Trustee Hopkins wanted it to be. Am I right? If you're going to build a pump station or a, whatever you're building, whatever the Village of Bartlett is going to do, the permit should be pulled through the system so that the electrical, plumbing, and building inspectors who work for the Village of Bartlett are making sure that the board can sleep good at night knowing that it was inspected properly, not done by a general contractor's secondary firm that they hired to inspect. And that means that permit would be pulled. Is that exactly how you? Okay. So that's the discussion that I've had with Trustee Hopkins. That said, do you have any, concerns regarding that?
No, I mean, for instance, for our treatment plant, for the wastewater treatment plant, we applied for a permit. We had plumbing and electrical out there inspecting those buildings that were being built. We ended up getting a permit for the lift station. I think one of the questions was like some of the work that was being done here at Town Center. We ended up having that inspected for the electrical work and plumbing for the runnel. But typically for street lights, that type of stuff, either our crews are doing it or we have a third contractor that comes in and installs or does maintenance. We have not been getting permits for that type of work.
I'm not worried about our crews having their work inspected. They're not doing projects.
Yep.
And,
So if you put a new roof on the golf course,
That gets a permit.
the golf course will pull a permit, and our building inspector will inspect the roof at the golf course. Is that correct?
Yeah, and that happens with public works project. Any building related thing, we get a permit,
Lights,
go through that.
your Mead Electric, your Aldridge Electric, your public right-of-way work that's outside of the norm of what Christie's department would issue permits for, you're not looking for inspections on that. That is not under the purview of our building inspectors. That is under the public works to deal with that and make sure that the state does their proper stuff.
I thought this was very interesting, actually, the information here. And I really was very surprised at how many, all the other municipalities who don't require any inspections for anything.
Yeah.
I thought that was,
Yeah, we do, on any public works building type work, we go through the bill, it is a zero cost, but we do have the inspectors inspect that type of work, so.
I think clarification and what the expectation is And you have it, you know what we're looking to do and does anybody else have any conversation regarding that? All right.
I have a quick question. Would this also serve, like, to make sure that the company did what they're supposed to do? Like a project
Well,
manager?
typically, we have a consultant that did the design work, watching over the contractors that are doing that work. So
Okay.
between the village staff that are on that project and the consultants that we paid to watch it get built properly.
Okay.
We have eyes on that to make sure it's going in, because we're ultimately going to be the ones maintaining it, so we want to make sure it gets built right. So we have, between village staff and consultants, also looking at to make sure it gets put in properly as well.
Anybody else? Is your concerns addressed, Trustee Hopkins? Anybody else have any concerns on that? Staff has what they need for that. Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. President, that's all we have on the
Thank you,
agenda.
Chairman Daney. Building and Zoning Committee, Chairman Hopkins.
Thank you, President Gunstein. We have 2 items on our agenda. The first is a concept plan, 25-07, Oaks at Bartlett. The new owners of the Hearthwood Seniors Living, originally Clear Oaks, are requesting feedback from the committee of the whole prior to submitting a development application to amend the planned unit development of the immaculate property. The petitioner is proposing to construct 22 buildings with a total of 44 duplex units on the remaining 12.7 acres of property. The original master PUD plan anticipated the continued operations of Clear Woods Academy, future medical, office building, and 10 duplex units for this property. With that, would you like to add anything?
I would like to add one comment. The applicant, since we did send the packet out, they have decided that they wanted to add like a clubhouse building for the duplex units. These duplexes are very similar to what is already at Clear Oaks. Actually, on the south side of Carillion Drive, it actually matches what the original layout was. So this is giving us an additional units, and when we saw a previous concept plan, one of the concerns at that time was that there wasn't enough density on these 12 acres, so the applicant has kind of followed some of the previous guidance the board has given on previous submittals.
Just want to point out that this was the former application for Maryville at 12 acres, is it?
Yes, it's a 12-acre site.
So this would incorporate raising and removing that building during this process, correct?
The old sales office, the red
little
building,
red
yes,
house?
that would be removed as part of this. The detention would remain how it is.
Mike Wormus's old house. That's where Mike Wormus grew up. Us old Bartlett people know that kind of stuff.
How many townhomes are being proposed?
So this is a total of 44 units.
Are these part of the Clear Oaks community then?
Yes, it would be part of it. They're adding sidewalks so that it's all incorporated with it.
It's a senior,
Yes, it would be age-restricted. They said there's a lot of demand for this product type, which again meets one of our strategic plan goals of providing additional housing types within the village. The clubhouse is, let me see if I can get my pointer. It's kind of right here. So it would kind of be centralized. The other duplexes are located off the screen, just west of this. They do not. So there would be a sidewalk connecting to it.
Are these going to be rental units? Or are they going to be for sale, or what's the financial?
Peter, if he is on the line, the applicant, I believe he can answer those questions.
Yes, good evening. Thank you, trustees. We're delighted to be here. For the record, my name is Peter Nicastro of the law firm DLA Piper, located in Chicago, and I represent Focus Healthcare Partners, which is the applicant in this matter. I'm here tonight actually joined by Vice President of Focus, Josh Schwartz, as well as the project manager, Paul Younger. And I'll actually allow Josh to introduce himself and address the trustees' question regarding sort of the financial arrangement at the proposal. Josh?
Hi. Thank you for having this hearing. We really appreciate your time. My name is Josh Schwartz. I work for Focus Healthcare Partners. We are a real estate investment firm based out of Chicago. We invest exclusively in senior living. We acquired the Oaks at Bartlett. Once at Clare Oaks has been rebranded as Hearthwood Senior Living. It's a senior living community off the screen to the left in December 2024. We have been very successful leasing that community as a independent living, assisted living, memory care, and skilled nursing rental community for the last year, taking occupancy from 62% when we acquired the community to 85% today. We acquired this 12-acre parcel in July that was once contiguous with the Clare Oaks site, and endeavor to construct these independent living cottages, which would be rental and fully continuous and within the community. So the current community has 10 units, 5 duplexes that receive meals, transportation, housekeeping, maintenance as part of their rent. These would be identical, both in design and in service offering.
Thank you for answering that question. I appreciate that. And thank you for the introduction and being here tonight.
Of course.
Is there any other questions from the committee?
No, I think it's a great plan.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it looks pretty
This,
straightforward.
so you're going to replace the parking lot, and I'm trying to remember some of our meetings from like 2 years ago with the Maryville proposal. I thought that someone uses that parking lot. I don't know what the usage is, or from the picture here, it doesn't look like it's occupied much. So are we going to be okay with parking?
So since the change in ownership, there has been less people utilizing that parking lot. They have done some demolition on the structure out there as well.
Oh, all right. Okay, thank you for that clarification.
All right, any other questions?
No.
All right, we look forward to your submittal once you get around to it, and we'll see it again in our committee meeting then.
This will go to planning and zoning?
No, so they need to, since they've gotten positive feedback from the board, we would direct them to submit a full development application.
Oh, okay.
Perfect. Look forward to seeing it.
Thank you.
Great use for this property.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
All right, our next item is Concept Plan 25-13, Bartlett Meadows. The Pulte Group submitted a full development application for a single-family development on 19.75 acres located at the southwest corner of Route 59 and Lake Street. The subdivision, the PUD plat, identifies 28 single-family lots. The floor plan would range in size from 2,300 to 3,826 with 3 to 6 bedrooms. The development of the 19.75 acre property is subject to a consent decree entered in 1997. With that, would Ms. Stone like to add anything?
So the petitioner is present if you do want to hear a presentation. If you do not, then I will cover some quick facts. They are requesting some modifications from our setbacks and lot size. However, in this case, as you can see, almost every lot backs up to open space. There are some significant wetlands on the property that do cause some constraints with how this property could be developed. We do show a future connection to the property to the south, which is almost a spite strip where it's 7 to 15 feet wide. Taxes have been unpaid for a significant amount of time. In the event that we could have ownership of that property changes, we would like to see a connection so that this could eventually have access all the way to Route 59.
Is this the one that there was no street parking because it was like everything was really close together?
No, that is a different one that we've done a first review and had a meeting with that applicant yesterday.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Chrissy, I have a question for you. This is, we have it on the drawing we have here, it's marked as B4. Then going to the south, it's ER1. I thought there was a parcel up there that was not incorporated in the village of Bartlett.
That's further south.
Huh?
That's further south.
Oh, it's further south. So it would be, I can see it here if you can't see it, but yeah, it's the white.
So we're the self-storage facility,
Yeah.
and then there's another parcel just north of that that's unincorporated.
Oh,
We have 2 unincorporated parcels, and then the ER1 parcel, and then this parcel.
All right, so the white square that you have up there, there's actually 2 parcels there?
Correct.
What are the possibilities of incorporating that into the village?
We've had talks with different developers over the years, some fairly recently. We've had talks. So ideally, we would like to see all those areas incorporated. So the county has expressed interest over time that they would like to have villages incorporate as much of these outlying parcels as possible.
Yeah. Well, let's keep moving forward on that.
Will they contribute to like a bike path, or I know like we have that grant coming over there, is there going to be any kind of connection or anything?
So currently, we only have sidewalks proposed for this because there wasn't a plan, our bike path plan does not identify any in this location. I think once we had development along Route 59, that may be where we would want a bike path, more along the major thoroughfares.
Can you re-summarize the consent decree again, just so we have it on record that we have more than exceeded the 10 years required?
So let me go back. It's been a little bit of time since we've done that. So there was a consent decree that basically said the property had to be advertised for commercial uses for at least 15 years before the property owner could apply for residential zoning. And the residential zoning, provided it was less than what they had originally proposed, basically the village doesn't have too much authority to counter that. This is significantly less than what was originally proposed in the Eagles Ridge subdivision. They were looking at putting in, I want to say, 50-plus townhomes.
Okay.
That period expired in 2012.
Yeah, I mean, we're at 29 years, so we're good.
Do you know if there's any area that's designated for a park for the residents?
The Park District did not want a park site on this facility. They preferred a cash donation and felt this was close enough to Peregrine Park in Eagles Ridge subdivision.
Okay, thank you.
The only comment I would have is the homes on Haley Drive face the back of the current auto dealership lot, correct?
Correct.
I just want to make sure that we're not going to get future complaints. Is there a fence? Is there good screening through landscaping? That's my only concern, is that area there.
The applicant is putting in a 6-foot-tall solid wood fence along that northern property line on the north side of that
Is
drive.
that the green?
That's the green line.
Okay.
And then they're going to have more of the split rail decorative fence along the rear of the lots that back up to the wetlands.
Okay. I just want to make sure we don't have future complaints, so.
Well, I can tell you that you most likely will. We've had a golf course out there for 100 years, right, Phil?
They're buying it knowing it's there.
Buy a home on the golf course, and then they complain about the language and golf balls in their yard and everything else. And they moved to a golf course. There before the home was built.
All right, does anyone have any objection to sending this to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a public hearing?
No.
All right, we will send this to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a public hearing. As always have under planning and, or building and zoning tonight.
Thank you, Chairman Hopkins. Thank you for the applications, both of you guys. Look forward to seeing those developments. Community and Economic Development Committee, Chairman GANDSEY.
We have one item, the strategic plan summary report. Upon adoption of the strategic plan, staff recommend establishing a strategic planning committee to support implementation and reporting. While departments will remain responsible for executing initiatives, a centralized structure is needed to ensure performance tracking and clear communication across the village. The internal committee would serve in a supporting capacity with the village administrator accountable for overall progress and reporting to the village board. The committee would assist with monitoring progress, coordinating timelines, refining performance measures, and supporting internal communication and public reporting. I'll turn it over to Corey Plash of CP2 Consulting to give us more details.
Excellent. Thank you again for having me back. With that, brief presentation for you. We're going to see how the clicker works. No. That happens sometimes, right?
Just budget for a new one, so.
So a little bit of an overview of what's happened since we last met. I've worked with staff. We finalized that initial mission and vision. Thank you so very much, because I've got to tell you, you guys were just little tweaks rather than the full job I have to do with some other communities. We worked on those performance targets and those key outcome indicators. I'll remind you of those definitions again in just a second. Staff continued to gather data. We're available to finalize those targets, and then staff held a measure gallery and also collected input from residents. Next slide, please. So this is, I believe, your mission statement? Vision statement. Glad I looked at that. So I'll give you just a second to kind of absorb this, but as I stated, very, very similar. We just had a couple of tweaks on words on this. If there isn't any comments or edits, we'll go ahead and go real quick to the mission statement. Again, very similar to what you had initially. We just had just a few minor tweaks to that. And in both cases, it goes along with the rule of one breath to say it. You kind of have to take a deep breath, but we're within the one breath rule. Next slide, please. So some of the definitions, it's been a little while since I've been here. Outcome simply means what does success look like? Key outcome indicator is simply what can we monitor or count? How is it that we're tracking our progress towards our outcome? And then a target is how are we measuring progress towards the goals? Must be measurable. We want a certain change by a certain date. Remember the jacket, we always want our targets to be a little bit uncomfortable, but not too tight and certainly not too loose. So we're going for that when we're looking at our targets. And with that, we'll go ahead and start getting into our strategic plan. Next slide, please. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to go through and kind of go through this. Most of this should look very familiar to you, but there might be some data in there that you haven't seen before. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to go ahead and answer that. But one of the strategic goals we had was financial sustainability. So some of the things we talked about there was to calibrate general corporate property tax levy to capture new growth, percentage of services delivered covers by fees collected, and then that grant strategy established. Again, that key outcome indicator, all it is how are we countering or measuring that? And then the actual target that we are going for, that performance target, is in that last category. Are there any questions on financial sustainability? Okay, we're going to keep going then. Next slide, please. Future-focused development. As you recall, this was something we spent a lot of time talking about. So when we're looking, what does success look like? It looked like a developer in place for a 20-acre parcel. Community's vision for downtown understood was something that we really discussed. And then increased residential housing options. Again, how are we measuring it? Is in that the third column there, and then that targets are there at the end. I'll give you, again, a second to just kind of absorb that. Do you have any questions? Is there anything in there that I'm going to keep on going then. Next slide, please. Quality of life. Here we are talking about success looking like expanded civic engagement opportunities, a coordinated community engagement, and then evidence-based safety engagement. And again, just a moment again to go ahead and absorb that. Any questions or comments?
Are we on target to have a village website launched by June?
So we might have a couple of little adjustments. That's okay. That's okay. Is there anything else?
Evidence-based safety engagement.
And I do want to note that sometimes that happens, right? We go ahead and we create these targets with the best of the information that we have available. And sometimes that's going to change. Sometimes we're going to go ahead and we're going to meet targets sooner than what we thought. Other times it's going to take a little bit longer. That's all part of strategic planning. Part of what we want to do is that going forward is to review this periodically and to see where we're at. So reports will be given to the board on a regular basis, but also to go ahead and look at the plan as a whole and just check in and say, does this, how are we doing? Does this still make sense? Do we need to maybe do some adjustment? And I recommend that on an annual basis.
Do we have
Next
a
slide,
plan
please.
for the quarterly meetings noted here? There's no timeline here, so I'm just curious if it's next year or, we haven't really talked about it either, right? So,
I don't know. Am I jumping the gun if I talk
Formulating?
about the?
No, please.
So one of the things that is new to us is putting together a working group to help us flesh out these details on those things, like, you know, defining what those underserved communities are and how we're going to do the outreach for that. We're in the process of putting that committee together. It is an internal working committee from employees from every level of the organization and from every department.
okay, fair enough for now.
Yeah, so some of this then will be defined a little bit as we go and as they go through and they start figuring out those work plans. When we think about what makes work fun is when you have the opportunity to really be able to create, to give your ideas and to really kind of form that. So we want to give that committee the opportunity to do that. Any other questions on this? Keep going then. Future-ready workforce. Again, success looks like a satisfied, engaged workforce, staff capacity to meet service demands, and organizational resilience. Any questions or comments on this? All right, then last but not least, we've got critical infrastructure reserved. So success here looks like assets maintained adequately to meet level of services, lead service lines eliminated, Oak Avenue realignment, and Naperville and Route 59 bike connections. Any questions or comments? Next slide, please.
I want to go
Yes,
back
please.
quick. Oak realignment, Phase 2 engineering on 3/23 of 2028. That actually is coming in sooner than that, correct?
It's estimated about 18 months for Phase 1 and 18 months for Phase 2. So we just got started on Phase 1. So that's kind of the estimates that where we're working at.
Did we expedite that? Did we try to expedite that?
That is expedited with the process that we have to go through with IDOT. That is the expedited process.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. So next slide, please. So with that then, where we go from here, I'm waiting for my slide to populate real quick. Here we go. So any edits should be noted and forwarded to me so we can go ahead and correct that. As staff already said, I'm going to be coming back to work with staff. We've got 2 sessions right now, February 23rd and March 11th. There's basically 3 ways that we can make sure that a strategic plan is implemented. You guys have got a strong history of doing that. But what I've found is when we've got targets that are realistic, when we have an implementation plan in place, and when we're reporting on this on a regular basis. So the second part of that, having that implementation team in place we're going to be working on, and then also setting up that reporting structure. So those are going to be the things that we're going to be covering on February 23rd and March 11th. And with that, are there any other questions for me? If not,
That meeting on March or February 23rd is between you and,
with staff, that implementation team with the multiple levels of staff from all of the different departments.
same,
That's really, remember my airplane graphic? We are way down on the runway on that one. We're digging into the weeds of how to make these things happen to make sure that we can really bring the strategic plan to life. We're actually doing project planning is where we're going to wind up out of those 2 sections.
You're going to require the mayor to be there all day? Come on, you can say it.
I'll sit in the corner. Any questions, concerns?
Yeah, I think it looks very well thought out, and I think it looks fun to implement, so I can't wait to see everything come to fruition.
Awesome. Thank you again. It's truly been a privilege to work with you. So I look forward to coming back in a couple of weeks to work with staff.
All right. Chairman Gandsey?
Oh, that's all I had.
Okay. All right, if there's nothing else, get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
By trustee DEYNE, second by trustee Hopkins. I'll give you one. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Batterman?
Yes.
DEYNE?
Yes.
Gansey?
Yes.
Hopkins? Laporte?
Yes.
Swansky?
Motion carries, we are adjourned.